Alright,
I'm filming.
3, 2, 1, start. Alright, good morning, my name is David Canton. This is my Persuasive Speech presentation for Communications 201 at Western Carolina University. Here's my agenda. We're going to go over my attention gainer. I'll cover my thesis, followed by my introduction, main points, which include how the body uses fuel for energy, the physiological effects of aerobic-based training, how to combine aerobic-based training with anaerobic training to maximize performance. I'll then go over the summary, the conclusion, and open the floor for questions. Do I have any questions up to this point? So the Ironman consists of a 2.4-mile swim, a 112-mile bike, and then a 26.2-mile run at the end, so a full marathon. When people are training up for this, they're putting in, about 100 miles a week, 30 to 40 hours, just to be able to finish the race. So it's very difficult to try to increase your performance when you're already training with that much volume. So in 1989, after 6 years, Mark Allen finally beat Dave Scott in the Ironman race. He attributed his win to his shift in training focus and continued to utilize that training to go on and win 6 more championships. So initially, Mark Allen didn't finish the first 2 that he raced, and then got silver basically every single time to Dave Scott. And he was just pounding pavement, putting in a lot of miles. He wasn't really changing his approach to training. And after he got injured, he wasn't able to do as much interval training. So then he went back and started running at 8:15 pace. So that kept him at about 155 beats per minute, which was his aerobic-based training target heart rate. And pretty soon, after about 9 months, he could hold 155 down into the low 6-minute pace. So then when he went out in 89, that's how he was able to beat Dave Scott. All right. How does this apply to you? For all the guys in this room, we have a constant readiness of physical fitness that we're expected to maintain. And if you're constantly doing interval training, you're probably going to injure yourself and take yourself out of the fight. So I propose to you that you should implement aerobic-based training broken up with small blocks of true anaerobic training. All right? So here's my thesis. Incorporating aerobic-based training into a well-rounded training program will result in enhanced athletic performance and allow the athlete to break through plateaus. All right, so as I stated, for Mark Allen, if you train long enough building an aerobic base before you do anaerobic training, you're going to eventually increase your levels of mitochondria and in turn increase your capillary efficiency. That's going to carry oxygen to your body and allow you to have more of efficient performance. And again, we want to avoid that semi-anaerobic training, which is in between aerobic and anaerobic. So you're not quite getting the anaerobic benefits, but you're creating a lot of waste, inflammation, and then you're affecting your recovery times and increasing your chance to get injured. That's known as the black hole, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more here. Okay, so before we go into the first main point, I want to highlight the differences between type 1 and type 2 muscle fibers. And type 1 is commonly known as slow twitch muscle fibers. Type 2 is fast twitch. It's called red because it carries more oxygen, more blood, more capillaries typically. So it's going to be a slower contraction speed. You're going to utilize aerobic capacity, longer duration. It's fatigue resistant, and you're going to have more power, and you're going to utilize triglycerides. You can utilize fat to stay in that aerobic zone. As opposed to type 2, where you're fast twitch, you're anaerobic, so you're operating without oxygen, and which causes it to be in short duration. Go down to the bottom there where it says storage. You're going to utilize more ATP and creatine phosphate when you're burning in anaerobic capacity, which means your body can only create so much ATP, and so once those stores are depleted, then you're going to so I already covered ATP. So your body utilizes ATP in aerobic training as well, but utilizes less of it. It's going to be heavily utilized in anaerobic. Well-rounded athlete. So a strong aerobic base is going to provide you with more efficient anaerobic training, and I'm going to cover that in a second here. All right, so I'm going to highlight AT. If you look at the bottom there, AT is anaerobic threshold, and that's going to be the tip of your pyramid in the red, and then aerobic threshold is going to be your blue. So when you have aerobic threshold, you can still utilize fat, to burn. So you have a lot of adipose tissue, and you have fat sources you can use that you can ingest to use. All right, anaerobic, you're operating without oxygen, so you're just burning up that ATP. And then that black hole is going to be that turquoise, the glucose burning. So that's why guys burn out. You eat, sugary foods or gels or anything like that. Typically you're operating in between. And then when you run out of those fuels, then your performance is just going to drop and tank. All right. And on the left there, it's you can see the pyramid is smaller when you're beginning endurance training. You don't have that big aerobic base. And then you're able to maintain a higher output at the anaerobic level when you do have a bigger aerobic base. All right, so your heart is going to pump more efficiently, which, like I said, is going to lead to more oxygen being carried throughout the body and enhance performance. Your mitochondria production is going to be increased, and your cells use that for power and energy. And then, as I stated before, the proper heart rate zone for extended periods of time, so typically between 145 to 155 generally, you're going to be able to utilize fat and adipose tissue. So that's huge for endurance athletes, and pretty much for us as well, because you got to carry somebody off the objective or these other things. Like, you need to have the capacity to run an 800 really fast, but you also need that aerobic base to keep it with the mountains and whatever, carrying heavy weight. All right, if you look here on the left, highlights some of the benefits of aerobic capacity training. And as you see, your heart becomes bigger, stronger, pumps more blood per pulse, more hemoglobin. Your capillary system is going to be more developed. Your lungs are going to work better. Your core typically will strengthen. Volume increases. Efficiency of alveoli improve. And again, like I said, myoglobin, mitochondria created in muscle cells. And to the right there, you can see on the left of that picture is, what your muscle looks like without that endurance training, that aerobic base. And on the right, you're going to have more dense concentration of mitochondria as well as your capillaries. Okay. So according to Mark's system, the spinal blueprint, you don't want to just do anaerobic training because then you're slow. If you look at marathoners, they have, they're really thin. They don't really pack a lot of power. That's not what we're going for here. We want to be well-rounded. So the idea is to utilize training blocks or periodization to build a long-term aerobic base and then go into your anaerobic training. Over a certain period of time, like I stated with Mark Allen, your paces will drop, and then you'll be able to pick up your anaerobic training. For example, if I go out right now and try to start doing 400-meter intervals, maybe I'll hold 120, and then I'll burn out. So if I do aerobic base training leading up to that training, I'll be able to hit 60 to 65 seconds, rest in between, my body will recover, I'll be more efficient. So I'm actually getting more out of that training by not focusing on just intervals. But you have to mix the two. All right, in summary, I covered my thesis, my main points, how the body uses fuel for energy, Physiological effects of aerobic-based training, how to combine aerobic-based training with anaerobic training to maximize your performance. In conclusion, aerobic-based training will enhance performance, reduce the risk of injury, and sustain long-term training, especially for our career field. When added to a well-rounded training program, the benefits can be astounding. So I challenge all of you to incorporate between 2 to 5 hours of aerobic-based training for a minimum of 8 weeks to your training programs, and then add in true anaerobic training. So go to the max with that 400-meter interval. Try to hit, 65 to 70 seconds. Rest, hit it again. Get all those fast twitch muscles developed as well, but only after you've done your aerobic-based training. Any questions?
Yeah, how long would it take to change my pace to heart rate effort using aerobic training?
Typically, you're going to see 3 to 6 months for an athlete that's already in shape. So it's a long-term process. All right, thank you for your time, guys.